read this information. Forecasts are often issued in parallel rather than in coordination, and users from farmers to state emergency agencies receive multiple and sometimes conflicting advisories. So the result is then inefficiencies, lack of trust, and limited national coherence in climate risk management. So this session invites us to reflect on three core questions. How can we strengthen governance across the CIS value chain? What mechanisms can ensure that data generation, translation, and dissemination are coherent and complementary? And how do we unlock private sector participation to build a system that is not only coordinated, but also commercially and operationally sustainable? And to begin this session, I'm going to invite our panelists on stage. So I will start off with Madam Gloria Onyebule, Director of the Department of Applied Metrology at NIMET. Please give her a round of applause. Please give her a proper round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am. So next, I would like to invite Mrs. Fashe Adams, Director of Hydrology at NISA. Please give her a round of applause as well. And I would like to invite Ayobami Oladipupo, Project Manager and Business Development Expert at Ignitia. Thank you very much. And to moderate this session, I would invite Chinedu Agbara, who is a partner at Sahel Consulting. Thank you.
Thanks, Hawa, and thanks to my panelists. So like Hawa mentioned, we want to make this very interactive. I think all morning, we've been listening to the different speakers on the platform. We've not had the opportunity to share our thoughts. And I think that's also the assignment they gave to us, is that we ensure that everybody can speak up and we can hear on the topic, and then we can bring that to the plenary session. Yeah, very good to be on the panel with these distinguished ladies. I know like Thursday I was on the hot seat receiving it from the chairman of our steering committee and also a member of our steering committee here. So today I'm probably safer. Let me put it that way. So I would just like to start by just one round of questions. There's been a lot of talk about the challenges within the climate information services system. I know there are different perspectives. On the private side, leaning towards my friend Ayobami, we think there needs to be more space, but also that's not to say that the public sector is not doing a lot. So let me just give the opportunity first on the public side, to the two, my two bosses to just answer, are some of these assertions correct? Just basically try to sell your own institutions as to what you're doing in the space, how to improve multi-agency governance for Nigeria. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Chibuzo, and to all of us here, I say welcome. The Weather and Climate Information Services in Nigeria in the past used to be a sort of unknown terrain, and that kind of created some sort of people working in silos, people trying to grab as much as they can, even while there are laid down processes and procedures and clear demarcations on what the roles and responsibilities of each of the agencies are. But in recent times, I think with people like you and of course so many others, we are getting our acts together. People are beginning to stay on their lanes, and we are now better coordinated. So what we are talking about is fizzling out somehow.
Okay, thank you. So I know NIMET and NISA, from my small working in the sector for the last 2 years now, have a good relationship. But can we say the same for the other agencies, like how I mentioned, NASDRA? I would like her to answer. the NASDRA, the Space Agency, Federal Ministry of Environment. How has the relationship been trying to work together as on the government side to make the different forecasts?
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Fashi Adam. There's no S. Mine is Adam, not Adams. Francisca Hamanye is my name, from Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency. And I was a director in Engineering Hydrology Department and now in Hydrogeology Department. And as you rightly said, Nigerian Hydrological Services came on board in 2009. We were a department in the Ministry of Water Resources. But when the issues of climate change came so hitting on us, the department was asked to go out and be an agency so that we can focus on water resource data collection for forecasting, to advise the government on policies that they can tell our people how to manage our water sustainably. So working with other organizations like NIMET, we know where we are, we know where we fall, we know our boundary. We know where NIMET starts and where it's supposed to stop, and we know where we, NISA, should start and stop. Same thing with environment. Though the environment is in the ministry, it's a ministry. The ministry actually is supposed to develop policies based on the data the agencies formulate for them. So we are still working together with a lot of NGOs and organizations like yours. We are trying to come together to let us, that's we, the agencies and the ministries, to know where and what we are supposed to do according to the acts establishing us, so that we don't overlap. And then so that we don't give informations to our people, different informations. So I know that NISA, my own organization, is to take data for anything water, either the surface water or the groundwater. At the initial stage, as my colleague from NIMET said, we are having some frictions, not really frictions, but overlap. Yeah, but I read geology in the university, and I took courses in geography. Oh, I'm sure if you're a scientist here, we must have done geography in secondary schools, primary schools. And during the course of my study in geology and the courses I took in geography, I was made to understand the difference between what happens in the atmosphere and when it touches the ground, what happens. So I was made to understand that when the cloud is forming, NIMET, that's meteor, anything in the atmospheric air is under the control of the meteor, that is meteorology. And rain is part of things that is in the atmosphere. But the moment it touches the ground, you don't call it rain again, you call it water. Then it's under the preview of water, other water resources, or it's hydro. You don't call it rain when it is on the ground. You call it hydro. So I've known that from my university days as a student of geography and main geology. So when I now joined this, when my organization came, I knew where I'm supposed to start as a hydrogeologist. I don't have any control of what happens in the atmosphere. I rely on NIMET to give me that information. But the moment it touches the ground, it's in my domain.
That's when you take over. Yeah. Okay, yeah, thanks. Well, I just want to stay with you a bit to say there is the point you raised, and I also throw it to the audience, is the fact that, and we've seen this in multiple ministries, right? Like you said, implementation is supposed to be done by the agencies, policies at the ministry level. But we see a situation where the ministry wants to do implementation as well as policy. So in your view, and also hopefully we'll hear from everybody, how can we try to solve this? I know you're under the Ministry of Environment, but water resources, yes, but the Ministry of Environment is different. But how do you think this can be solved?
Yeah, education.
Okay.
One, we need to educate ourselves. And we need to know what is our act establishing our organization.
Sorry, maybe to cut you there. I think on that act part, what I've seen is that every of these agencies have, if you look at the act, there's some kind of way they've couched it that it supports them to do many of the things they are doing. So sometimes, do we need to reason with them?
Yeah, we have to reason with them because, like, let's say environment. What is environment? The water is not out of space. Yeah. The water is in the environment. Do you understand? Yeah. There's a thin line between all these organizations. There's a very, very thin line that if you don't look at it, it's all the same. When you're talking about water, the water is not in the space. Yeah. It's not in nowhere.
It's in the environment.
It's in the environment. So like if the water is polluted, for instance, because what we do in NISA, we don't just take data on water alone. We monitor the quantity of the water we have, either in our rivers or groundwater. We also monitor the quality of these waters. So if a water body is contaminated, for instance, it's from the environment. You understand? So we can't really separate environment from the water. Okay. But the thing is for us to know, what are you supposed to do in this regard? If water is being polluted, who tells you it's polluted? NISA will tell you it is polluted. Then you that is in environment, you will now tell the government, this water is polluted. What do we do? That is policy for the benefit of our people. That's the way I see it.
Thank you so much. So I see at the end of the day, we also need to look at the farmers, because at the end, that's the ultimate goal. So I'll come to Ayobami now. So you're a private actor in this space. There's also another conflict I see, and that's, I see you rolling your eyes, so you agree. There's been a lot of, in our conversation, what are the roles for the private sector to take up? So what do you see that is the challenge, and how can we try to address this?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. And I work with Ignitia, and Ignitia is a weather intelligence company. We're a private sector player who support the agri-system, and not just the agri-system, the entire landscape with information to help them build their resilience to climate change. And specifically in the agricultural sector, what we do is to provide weather information. So it's one thing to say it's going to rain, then how then can we make that actionable? How then can we cascade that information to the farmer? So what we do is to provide, for instance, you tell them since it's going to rain tomorrow, then maybe you should not apply fertilizer because the rains are too heavy, right? And so we send this information, we provide this information to the farmers via accessible media, which is mostly the SMS, right? Because we've tested so many models, right? We've tested going to the field to provide this information to the farmers, but we found that that's not efficient. And due to the infrastructural limitation, we have infrastructural limitation in Nigeria. Due to infrastructural limitation that we have in Nigeria, we found that the most efficient way to reach our smallholder farmers in Nigeria will be through SMS, right? And so for us, one of the limitations to be able to deliver last mile delivery to the end users will be infrastructure. Now, in terms of, you're talking about collaboration, you're talking about, so for us, to be very honest, in the last few years, it's been an uphill battle to find, some collaboration between ourselves and the government side. But I must say that that's really changing, and that's changing very fast, especially with this new administration, with Professor Charles. We're now having discussions with them about how we can work together to be able to provide this information to the farmers. And what we did to be able to do that was that we studied what is obtainable in other countries, for instance, like in the USA, where you have the NOA here. The NOA still remains the statutory authority for weather information, but then they allow private sector players like Climate Weather, AccuWeather, to be able to work and innovate and provide, these weather services to the public based on, and they're still regulated, right? And so that's the kind of model we're discussing with NIMET to see how we as private sector players are enabled to, participate within the sector while they maintain the statutory authority, to be able to see what we're doing, to regulate what we're doing, to make sure that we're all disseminating one voice, right? Because you mentioned when I was speaking, yes, farmers are actually very mistrusting, right? And so we must be careful to not come to them disjointedly. We must come together as one. And so if NIMET if they receive a text message from Ignitia, they need to know that, okay, yes, NIMET is aware, NIMET endorses this message, because otherwise then they say, oh, if we don't come together, we hear things like, oh, you people told me this, and I've heard Dr. James say a couple of times that they go to the field and they say, oh, you sent us a message. But it probably wasn't even Ignitia. It was not Ignitia, it was not NIMET, but they've received wrong information and they tagged NIMET first. And so for us, we're looking at how we're now collaborating with NIMET. We have a very active conversation with them right now to see how we can then look at models whereby maybe provide licenses to us to be able to operate within the country.
Thank you so much. We'll be having a session on commitment. So I'm already hearing some commitment. Ignitia, NIMET want to work together to solve the issues. So I'll take it now to the audience. So the topic is very clear. It's here. So who wants to speak first? Show of hands. I see 3 hands. Hawa? Okay.
Yes, please. Thank you very much. Labaran Sani is my name from NISAN. Panelists, on a lighter note, I would love to see inclusivity. That's one. But when we talk of strengthening multi-agency governance for climate information services, I think we start with even the agency itself. Within the agency departments, they don't work in synergy. Talk more of different agencies. What am I trying to say here is that reliable information, data, for it to get to the users, end users, specifically farmers. If there is no partnership, collaboration between the stakeholders, I'm thinking this data will not get to the farmers timely. I was just privileged to have a handbook from the NIMET seasonal rainfall prediction, and I just saw a friend, my friend's town in it, and I just called him jokingly to say, are you aware that your village will be flooded this year? He said, no, is that true? I said, I just saw the report. Later on, after that incident has happened, I still called to him. I said, was there flooding in your area? He said, no. So I'm trying to see the validity of this information. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
You mentioned NIMET, but I'm not sure the document you're talking about that talked about flood is from NIMET. NIMET does not do flood forecasting. She said something that though there are cross-cutting areas, but we know where, my right stops for her to take over. NIMET is the agency of government that handles weather and climate. We monitor the weather, we use them over a long time to develop climate information. And then we use them to advise the government and the people of Nigeria. So if you're saying you saw a flood forecast in a NIMET document, I'm not sure you're very correct. Okay, in terms of collaboration, you said you're from NISA, right? Oh, NESRA, okay. Because if you're from NISA, you said NISA. Oh, NESAL of CBN. Okay, okay, I now understand. NIMET, NISA, and NEMA has a tripartite committee that has been in place for over 10 years. She's here, she should quote me wrong if I'm wrong. So there is collaboration. What we lack is coordination. And the Office of the Vice President has recognized that, so that from last year, there's a committee that the VP set up, and that committee is to handle issues of anticipatory action. That committee came because places that we did not even know anything like flooding before suddenly started being flooding. Who would have imagined that a dry land like Meduguri will face the kind of flood that we saw last year? Yes, there are riverine floods every year. Sometimes they get to the extreme, that we are still studying their return period. But places in the far north, places that used to experience drought, we were just fighting desertification a few years ago. All of a sudden, in that same place, desert and flood are two extremes of the same phenomena. But from desert, immediately jump to flood. That is an effect of climate change. And then the Office of the VP thought it wise to now come in again, not minding that the National Security Advisor already has this tripartite committee of NIMET to provide the weather forecast. Now it forms an input to what NISA, as a hydrological services agency, will use for their flood forecasting, annual flood forecasting actually. Then NEMA, who is the action taker, goes to town to announce to the people, see, this is what these two organizations have forecasted. Can we take action? If you're on a floodplain, can we move you? If you're farming, can you even begin to farm early maturing crops so that you don't lose out? Yes, we're not saying leave this farmland open. You can use it, but plant something that you can harvest within a few months so that you make your gain and still not be affected by the upcoming flood. So the three agencies have been working together, and you could see it, they worked in the recent floods that has happened this year. You see that the effect, if you are listening to the news, they are not as much as we used to have them because there is now coordination. The three agencies have been working all this while, but then coordination is something that came in and changed the game. So there is, in terms of data, is there. NIMET, for instance, has been established for over 130 years. There are some of our stations that WMO has recognized as, the grandfather of stations all over the world that has been in existence for over 100 years. A station in Akasa, in Bayelsa State, was set up about 130 years ago. It's one of the stations that the colonial masters used in terms of weather forecast for movement, flying of aeroplanes and all that. But now in agriculture, this anticipatory action is key. In flooding, it is key. That is water resources now. And in so many other sectors, we are seeing that the coordination is paying off very well. So what we have, the missing link was coordination, which an agency of government or an arm of government has identified and is already taking action.
Yeah, thank you very much for the time. My name is Tambul Halilu Buba. I'm from the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, particularly Extension Department. I wanted to earlier say that the plenary sessions is not complete when I have not heard someone that come from the Federal Ministry of Agri here, because whatever we are discussing, we are not here to win or to support an agency. All what we are trying to do to see how we can put hands together to collaborate and achieve this. I want to begin with that because there is a saying that whatever you are doing for me, without me, is against me. Because most of these information that we are talking about, the beneficiaries are farmers. It has to do with agricultural activities, most. So that is the more reason why I said, then someone's supposed to be there. So notwithstanding, since I've introduced myself as I'm from Agric, so it's as equal. So what I'm trying to say, based on my own observation and so many things that's happening, the collaborations is there, but it's weak. Very, very weak. And NIMET has a special mandate. Environment has a special mandate. Hydrology, the private sector, all they have some different mandates. But when it comes to climate issue is one of the controversial issues that we're having in agriculture and which needs attention or need to be done, something supposed to be done. So like an NIMET supposed to collaborate with Federal Ministry of Agriculture, especially extension departments, because they have extension agents that are trained, they have a special skill to be able to spread out very well to the farmers, because farmers are their friends, they are always with farmers. And if you are looking for the data of farmers, you get it from them. So when you remove an extension agent participating or collaborating with NIMET, then NIMET alone cannot be able to carry those informations to reach the down beneficiaries. If you know, Ministry of Environment and even the Ministry of Water Resources, they're all pulled from agriculture. They're all from there, and all the interest is one, to be able to make sure that farmers were able to adopt the practice to mitigate the effect of climate change when they are producing. So I want to challenge the coordination she talked about. Yes, I agree. But the collaborations is actually very, very, very weak. So what can we do to be able to put all hands on decks to address this, to strengthen this climate issue for farmers to get the right information in time? Like what he has said, some of the information, if there is a synergy between all of us, everybody is contributing, I think it would be nice than when a NIMET says there is going to be so-so plot at so-so time in so-so village, and the farmers heard about it or somebody heard about it, and at the end of the day it has not happened like that. Because I know the information of NIMET is going to be complete. They always say may likely. They may say it may really happen. So if it has not happened, does not mean NIMET is giving fake information or something like that. But my cry here is that let there be this synergy. Let us not see the climate issue as it is my own issue or it is my own activity in my own departments. So let there be all these synergies. So I call on this that whatever you are doing for me, without me, is against me.
Yeah, but a little bit. It's possible that the document you saw is from NISA and not from NIMET. But let's assume it's from any one of us. You know, this forecast is probability. Do you understand? Yes. If NISA comes out with a forecast that says this room will be flooded, we don't just leave it at that. We will give mitigation. You get? We can say, if you are here, leave this place before so time that is going to flood. Or, if you are in this room, this is your house, you don't have drainage. NISA will say, open up drainage. So NISA will be very happy that where we forecasted is going to flood, and the flood did not take place. That means you listened to us. you listen to the mitigation measures that we give. So it's possible your friend listens to the mitigation measures that we sent out. Leave the place or empty your drainages or create drainages where there's no drainages. And the rain will fall. And the flood, it's a natural phenomenon. We can't, if the flood is going to take place, we cannot say it will not take place. Flood must take place. But what we are fighting is the risk. If you do not build your house on a floodplain, you won't be a victim of flood now. It's only rice that is planted in that floodplain that will enjoy the flood. If rice is enjoying the flood, it's not a risk. It's not a problem. But if you are in that rice place, you built your house where it's not supposed to be built because it's a floodplain, it will be risk. So that is what we do. We don't enjoy it happen. We enjoy it did not happen. That means people listen to us. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot one very important thing while I am responding. Yeah. So when, Mommy, when you are making a contribution, you are referring to NIMET. I think that particular things, NIMET, their mandate is not to recommend to a farmer which type of crop they can plant to be able to mitigate the effects of that. It is done by the agricultural sector. They are the one responsible to be able to advise farmers which particular that. Thank you. No, what I'm saying is that NIMET is National Emergency Assistance they render, not to recommend a crop to farmer.
See, we have moved from forecasting that it will rain, for instance. Let me just use rain now as an example, to saying what the rain can do. And then the World Meteorological Organization recommends that we do what is called impact-based forecasting. What a rain of, say, 100 millimeter can do where we are now may be different from what it can do with somebody at Kwali. So when you forecast 400 millimeter of rainfall falling within Abuja metropolis, the advisory you are going to give will be based on certain, conditions of that place. It will be not too useful for you to just tell a farmer it will rain 100 millimeters. He will not understand it. So what you can do to make him understand it is by saying what that amount of rainfall can likely cause. And then because of that, be able to issue such little advisories. Sir, the Ministry of Agric is one of our major stakeholders. Every single year after the launching of our seasonal climate prediction, we don't stop at launching it. We also go with the Ministry of Agric. Ministry of Agric sponsored us this year to the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria, one state per geopolitical zone, to go and do what is called the downscaling. Downscaling is explaining it in the language the farmer understands. Every of our little terminology is there, because most times people have come out to say that we use a lot of technical terms. I'm a meteorologist. If I read that advisory, I will understand it 100%. But you don't understand a soil scientist, a farmer at the local level to understand. So we go with the Ministry of Agric, with the extension workers. I know a lot of extension offices in Nigeria. You know, they are scattered all over. Before we come to your state, some governors support us. Some of them collaborate with us, give us house, public address systems, gather the workers. And most times we do this thing in the Agric extension offices. So we are working. I'm surprised you're saying this. That we don't collaborate with Ministry of Agric. Yes, but nothing is so good that it can be improved upon, because we are also at the verge of, okay.
On the assignment they've given to us is that there has to be commitment from this group, everybody in this room. what are we going to do? It's not about talking just the problem, but now on the solution. So I hear one, Ayobami and Madam, you've mentioned you work together, private and public sector. So what will be like the next steps? Ayobami, what's the next steps you want to see? No, let me ask her.
In one form or the other, but there has to be standard. So yes, yes, we have developed. In fact, we had to even go to the National Assembly to repeal the former act and then get a new one. So as of 2022, there is now that clause in our act that permits us to regulate other agencies doing what we do, so as to create that standard. So Ignitia is one of them, and they have come to us. We've already signed an MOU, and we're working together. The aim is for Nigerians to be covered in terms of meteorological services.
Yeah, so one of our commitments will be, on a personal note, since we're working with them now, one of the things that we aim to achieve is to help NIMET build their AI adaptive capabilities, right? We understand that the use of satellite imagery as well as the use of artificial intelligence greatly improves the quality of the forecast that is given. And so that's one of the strong things that we're doing with NIMET to help improve the AI adaptive capability. Yes, exactly.
So just for Ignitia and NIMET, so this investment that Ignitia is going to make in NIMET, when does this start, or has it started?
It hasn't started, but we have a meeting next week, I think 5th of November, so where we're going to hash out the timelines and all of that. So you hear about it. So I mean, it's a lot of investments, yeah. So, but you get the information once we finalize on that by next week.
Any other commitments? Just comment. Okay, go ahead. Well, be very quick.
I just want to say that because we are talking about sorry. My name is Isiaka Kandura. I come from CIS, Center for the Study of Economic of Africans in Abuja. I just want to say that I want to collaborate with I don't know the name of the organization, but it's a private organization. I can't call the name. So I just want to say that this ICT development will help a lot to strengthen the coordination between different agencies of government so that they can have a better weather forecasting or weather, other soil or water resources, anything. So building on AI and IT, we solidify their efforts instead of fragmented operation.
Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Aziz Salau. I work for Community Action for Food Security. And also to mention that we've been doing a lot of work with small-scale farmers, and we do annual pre-season training. And the core area is around climate information services. So we work directly with NIMET. We've been working with NIMET, I know Dr. James Ijampi, for over 6 to 7 years. But now we are taking it forward to really, go into AI. We are trying to, build an app where it would really make more sense as for smallholder farmers to really tap all of these things, because you don't agree with me that Nigeria is actually very big, and there's really no there's really no one way to all of these solutions. So I think this is our own commitment. Yes. We are already doing that, and of course working together with partners, and also expanding the scope. I think we are actually going to do more. We've trained we've built capacity of. Oh, in the future. So we already done over 30 communities and over 20,000 small-scale farmers, directly and indirectly, and we are looking at doubling that in the next 2 to 3 years. Thank you. Double, that's 40, not 60. Yes, thank you. But then, like the person from the ministry has rightly said, the coordination is actually very weak. And now we need to really look at the food systems approach, because that is like the way to go. And if we really want it to be more sustainable, we need to identify that we are brothers keepers, and it is really beyond churning out those climate information services. All of those critical MDAs need to really work together with private sector partners, CSOs, and young people needs to be at the center of all of this, because mommy, very soon you'll be retiring, and yes, we need to be factual about some of these things. So we need another type of mommy that will come on board to take over from her. We don't know them, so that's it. So that is what we say. We know a lot of people doing some of these things, but if we say that we should bring the data, it is not available. So that is really very important, and a lot of young people are here. Let's come together to do a lot of some of these things together. Please. Thank you.
Let me say something. I was quite elated while we were inside there. Almost all your partners, I think the only one we are not working with directly is MasterCard. I saw it on, is it Gains, is it GIZ, EU, all of them. In fact, I took note of that as soon as I sat down. So the thing has gone far beyond our own expectations. In digital climate advisory services that she just talked about, you're not the only one. Tomorrow IO has come to us. We're even working with MTN on this SMS to the last mile. There are a whole lot of, your organization have not heard of it before. You haven't come to us. If that we are working with James, I do not know. Oh, he goes to James. James is just an entity, a human being. So sitting from where I am James's director, and if you're working, I should know you. What I'm saying is there are pockets of organizations doing meteorological services. We are very happy because Nigeria is quite vast. In terms of our land mass, our land 940-something thousand. No entity, no single human being can do it all. And I learned also in that room that we're not just trying to go far, but we should go fast, and we should do both of them together. So to get the more the merrier. We are happy a lot of people are coming on board to do meteorological services. We are there to regulate it. We are there to make sure people are not going beyond what the dictates of weather and climate information should be. We are there to make sure Nigerians are getting the real deal in terms of climate information services. Of course, it's an open field, but we have to regulate. We have to make sure that quacks don't hijack it and then begin to misinform people. Yes.
Okay, coming from NISA, most of the partners you have, we have common partners with NIMEX and you guys. And when I came to the hall, what excited me most was that 99% of those people in that hall are youths. So when I just saw them, I just said, thank God, people are coming after us. Because if the youths are not ready to take up where we live out, then there will be a big problem, you know. And over our social media, we are giving the impression that our youths are into cyber Yahoo stuff, you know. But I don't think the type of youths I have here that I saw in that hall today and that are also here are into Yahoo or cyber crime. Because if you're into Yahoo or cyber crime, you won't be here. Because this is not Yahoo. This is not cyber. You know, this is practical. This is agriculture we are talking about. So I was really very impressed. In fact, I started thinking about my children in the university. I said, good, it means there's something for the youths to do. Our youths are not that bad. In fact, they are not bad. Because that was what our elders were telling us during our time. They say, we, this generation, there's nothing good will come out on us, from us. And we are here. So I don't believe that our youths are right off with what I saw in that hall and here. I'm happy that the youths are going to take over from us. And in as much as we are going into agriculture, I want us to be mindful that you will not eat food without water. Water is life. There are a lot of NGOs coming up for agriculture, best method, how to improve our crops. Know that whatever you plant, whatever you apply to these crops, either insecticides or fertilizers, have effects on our water. During the rainy season, quite good. In those days, in this country, we depend on rain-fed agriculture. But now, we are going into irrigation. Good. Irrigation means you either use surface water, where we have rivers running all year round, or you use groundwater to irrigate whatever crops we are doing through irrigation system. If you pollute the surface water, let's assume you are using surface water only. All these pesticides, fertilizers, they pollute our water. Once the surface water is polluted, it will go down and pollute the groundwater. If you pollute the groundwater, we are doomed. Because you can treat the surface water, you are seeing it. You can treat it. But groundwater, you cannot treat it. Where do you see to treat it? And groundwater moves very fast across the world. So if you pollute the water in Abuja today, the pollution will reach Maiduguri groundwater, depending on the gradient. So in as much as we want to produce food, we have to be alive to eat the food.
Lisa, we just want to get a commitment.
My commitment. don't pollute our water. And we want food, but remember that our water needs to be protected.
Okay. How are we still good for time? Or?
Sadly, no.
Okay. One commitment. Okay.
Our department is actually committed in educating farmers on climate smart agricultural practices. And also, they are also providing training on climate resilient crops, on livestock management, crops and livestock management. Also, they are committed in facilitating adoption of the climate resilient technologies.
Can you give us numbers?
Yeah?
Numbers. So how many people are you going to train on all of this?
Yeah, like last 2 years, let me just say what I know.
Yeah.
There are extension agents, about all the country, our department is committed to training about 755 extension agents. So, and you know, they have done half of the training. So if you can go to the website, you can see how we have been committed. We have trained farmers on those resilient variety crops to the climate change. So this is part of the commitment that our department does.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So how you have enough?
So I'm just going to read out the commitments. And please, if I get anyone wrong, please feel free to quickly correct me. So I'm going to start off with Ignitia and NIMET. So Ignitia is going to invest in NIMET with AI capabilities. So this is already an ongoing discussion. Meetings are going to happen anytime from November 5th, and then the investment figures and details will be finalized during that meeting. Then, you're looking at me. Okay. Then community action for food security. Yes. So they are also building an app for smallholder farmers to access climate data, and they will plan to train 40,000 farmers in the next 2 years. 2 to 5 years. And then we also have another commitment from NIMENT that it's an open field for climate, for private sector climate actors to generate data, as NIMENT is a regulator within that sector. But just on that, I want to also ask, how would these private sector organizations know? Because some of them would assume that, oh, just as an example, they'll be like, okay, NIMET is the one doing data, they are not going to allow us. So there's no information out there, I believe that.
Oh, don't worry, we will help her do that
Okay.
one. We'll broadcast it. We'll put it on social media now that everybody just come.
Okay.
And just to be fair, there have been some private people on the door knocking.
Knocking,
But
okay.
they've always felt there is no clarity as to for them to do
For
that.
them.
So it wouldn't be a problem to get that out.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And lastly, from our Ministry of Agriculture, we have in the extension department, we have mentioned training 755 extension agents on resilient varieties so that they can downscale and pass on this information to smallholder farmers.
I would like to make a commitment under the project.
Okay.
I think somebody mentioned around data for the government actors. So we will look to build a platform where all of the government agencies can work together seamlessly. Ministry of Extension, NIMET, everybody. So we'll try to work on that. Also the private sector to come on board on that. So a commitment. And I'm making this commitment on behalf of my colleagues, David, and I don't know, Nelson.
And Nelson, please stand up. Please stand up. So this commitment, Nelson and Dave, stand up. So please, these commitments, when you see their faces anywhere, ask them, where is this platform? That is Nelson, this is David, and that's also Chinedu. So please, when you see them. So that's another commitment under this project, that there'll be a platform where both the public sector and the private sector will be working together when it comes to climate data and information.
Which other sector? You are... Development is public. Okay. Okay. First,
Okay,
yeah, we'll scale it out. Yeah. No, there will be NGOs and all, but yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
How?
All right. Thank
so
you.
Public, private, plus allied sector actors, NGOs, everybody.
NGOs, allied
Thank
sector
you.
actors. All right.
Non-state actors.
Yes.
That's it?
Yes, so those are the commitments. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for the support. I don't know if there are any last words from my panelists, but just be brief. Is it lunchtime? Or
No, so we have to go back into the main hall.
yeah, so we don't keep people out for long. So just one last word. I think I'll use the way he said, one last sentence that you want everybody to walk away with.
Okay, so I just want everybody to walk away with the urgency for action, right? It's very imperative. We've seen a lot of losses within the agricultural sector, and so for us, let's work together, like we said, fast and together, right? Let's work very fast to ensure that we build the resilience of not just the agricultural sector, but of the nation at large, you know, to climate change. That would be mine.
Thank you. Mine is also collaboration. We need to collaborate, both governments, agencies, public, private organizations, NGOs. We have a lot of you. Let's collaborate, and we all have one goal. Our people, our farmers, we are all one person. So better work together, we'll get better results. Thank you.
I think the missing link is coordination. We are collaborating in reality. For as long as I've known NISA, over 10 years ago, we have been collaborating. But coordination, because yes, we lack that, yes, we want coordination. You in the private sector, NGOs, whoever, let there be somebody coordinating that will point to you that, you are forgetting this, and then you do it, then you do this, you know. By the time we are well coordinated, all these climate change effects, their impacts will be minimal. They will occur, but they will not be as devastating as we have found them to be.
Thank you, everyone. So please, can we give our panelists a round of applause? Please, don't go anywhere. Quick picture with panelists. But as you're taking this picture, please, everyone, you can find your way back into the main hall for the session.